Honorable Speaker, I also want to point out that in the various fundings that we have in this country, and I want to say the majority leader has just put it very clear. The other day we discussed with some experts that there is a lot of money outside there with the local banks, in the NGCDF, county governments, and other institutions amounting to over 30 billion shillings. If well streamed out, it can actually do a good job in terms of funding education. Two, we have this issue of a birth certificate. And I just want to address this more specifically to the Ministry of Interior. It has become a serious problem in schools to have a birth certificate. The Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Interior needs to work together so that we digitize and to get to know how many students, and every student needs to have a number so that we avoid fraud. And as Honorable KJ has just said, we really need to make sure that we have a very clear digital system in schools so that we can fund every child. We have a register in schools. So the petitions committee, and I think the education committee will have an input into this, so that we solve this issue, and this one should not give parents and principals an excuse to raise fees. This is hard economic times, and actually we need to lessen the burden that we are giving to the parents of this country, that let the government pay, let the principals not raise fees at this particular time, Honorable Speaker. We need to streamline and make sure that the monies that we have reach schools on time. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, we have this issue of the budget cycle. The budget cycle and the school calendar starts at different times. This is something that we need to align. We need to sit down so that we align the budget cycle and the school calendar so that disbursements are actually in tandem with what is going on. I thank you and I support.
Thank you. The petition is committed to the Public Petitions Committee. And should they find any requirement to consult with the Committee on Interior and Education, they feel free to do so. Roeda Obo, present your petition.
I, the undersigned, on behalf of residents of Lamu East constituency, draw the attention of the House to the following. 1, that Boni Lungi is an area of land between Dodori and Boni National Reserve in Lamu East constituency, measuring approximately 39,925.7 hectares and inhabited by over 480 households of aware community. That Article 56 of Constitution obliges the government to put in place affirmative action program for minorities and marginalized groups. Further, the national land policy calls for the protection of land rights from unjust and illegal dispensation of both vulnerable and minority communities. That Gazette number 1447 of 2016, published on 4th March 2016, the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Natural Resource and Regional Development Authority declared Boni Lungi as a state forest. That the gazettement was done without consulting the people and the leader of the affected region, contrary to the Article 10(2)(a) of the Constitution that provide for the public participation in making, implementation(public policies) and in applying the laws. Further, the gazettement was in breach of the provision of Article 69(1)(d) that required the state to encourage public participation in environmental management. That the land in question is actually community land that the local people have been farming, depending on resources for collecting natural fruits, honey, plants for traditional medicine and building materials. That being one of the most marginalized indigenous culture in the country, the gazettement further threatened the aware community with losing their land, their livelihood, their way of life, and perhaps their very lives. That the suitable effort to solve the issue and attain a workable solution to this concern have been fertile, and that the matter presented in this petition is not pending before any court of law, constitutional or legal body. Therefore, your humble petitioner pray that the National Assembly, through the Public Petition Committee, 1, investigate the matter and compel the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry to degazette Bonilungi as a state forest. 2, recommend that the Cabinet Secretary for Land, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, in consultation with the county government of Lamu, to facilitate the registration of Bonilungi as community land pursuant to the Article 63(5) of the Constitution and other applicable laws, and make any order and or direction that it deems fit in the circumstance of the matter. And your petitioner will ever pray. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Rueda. Your petition is committed to the Public Petitions Committee to report back in the usual within 60 days to the House and to you. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Order number 5, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 6th December 2023, afternoon sitting. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statement in respect of the following projects for the year ended 30th June 2023 and the certificates therein. Global Fund to contribute to achieving Vision 2030 through universal access to comprehensive HIV prevention, treatment and care program, Ministry of Health. Promotion of youth employment and vocational training in Kenya, State Department for Technical Vocational Education and Training. Number 3, Nairobi Outer Ring Road Improvement Project, Kenya Urban Roads Authority. 4, Capacity Development Project for Enhancement of Rice Production in Irrigation Scheme in Kenya, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, State Department of Crop Development. 5, Southern Sudan Link Road Project, Kenya National Highway Authority. 6, National Agricultural and Rural Inclusive Growth Project, State Department for Crop Development. Number 7, Emergency Locust Response Project, EDA, credit number 6648 and number 7530 KE, State Department for Crop Development. Number 8, Kenya Primary Education Inquiry in Learning Teacher Service Commission. Number 9, support to the State Department for Technical Vocational Education and Training for Relevant Skills Development Projects, State Department for Technical Vocational Education and Training. Number 10, Secondary Education Quality Improvement Project, State Department for Basic Education. Number 11, support to the Technical and Vocational Education, Training and Entrepreneurship, TVET projects, the State Department for Technical Vocational Education and Training. Number 12, establishment of Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology Project. Number 4, State Department for Higher Education and Research. Number 13, and Regional Integration Project, Kisumu National Polytechnic. 14, Lake Victoria Environment Management Project, Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Number 15, Kenya Social and Economic Inclusive Project, State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizens Affairs. 16, Kenya Youth Empowerment Opportunities Projects, the State Department for Labor and Skills Development. 17, Kenya Youth Employment and Opportunities Project, Micro and Small Enterprise Authority. And 18, Eastern and Southern Higher Education Center of Excellence, State Department for Higher Education and Research. Mr. Speaker, I lay. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Naomi Wako. Majority Leader, when you lay papers on the table for purposes of Hansard, you read exactly as it's written. I can see you are skipping. If you read out, like say number 9, Secondary Education Quality Improvement Project, you must read also credit number 61380KE, then you go on. So from what you have read, we are going to have gaps in the Hansard. So you better follow up with the clerks to correct in future. Avoid those in njia ya mkato. Next. Next order. Oh, sorry, Chair PSC. Chair PIC on Commercial Affairs and Energy. Who is the Chair PIC on Posing?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 6th December 2023. The first report of the Public Investment Committee on Commercial Affairs and Energy on examination of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of selected state corporations. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Next, Chairperson, Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 6th December 2023. Third report of the Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education on its consideration of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of state corporations, Central Region for the financial year 2018-2019, 2019-2020, and 2020-2021. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, PIC on Commercial Affairs and Energy.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion. That this House adopts the report of the Public Investment Committee on Commercial Affairs and Energy on its examination of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of selected state corporations laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 6th December 2023. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Chair PIC on Governance and Education.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education on its consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of state corporations, Central Region for the financial year 2018-2019, 2019-2020, and 2020-2021, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 6th December 2023. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Kapchai.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of motion of the following motion. That aware that Article 57 of the Constitution provides that the state shall take measures